Welcome to Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. You are going to hear the stories from the eclectic life of a guy who is a professional counselor, a family man, a SWAT team chaplain, outdoor enthusiast, a guy involved with ropes, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, a chaotic Jedi, and who is a recipient of an honorary doctorate from the University of Adversity. Using these stories, we take the facts lead to concepts, and from the concepts we make a variety of life applications. Just a caveat about the facts. Most of the time we will tell you the facts just the way it happened, but once in a while we'll give you the facts the way other people remember how it happened, and that usually includes a tablespoon of embellishment. No harm is meant, just good, clean fun for educational purposes. Please subscribe and share this with your friends or your enemies. It might help them to be better people if they listen. As always, we thank you for keeping up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. Introducing the Bible degree with digital ministry. Paul used the marketplace and the synagogue to reach an expanded audience. We have access to the internet and social media. I once heard it said that when McDonald's introduced the drive-through window, they did not change the Big Mac, only how it was delivered. Faulkner University is now offering a new digital ministry track for their Bible degree. Faulkner's degree provides training in understanding and teaching the gospel, alongside training that will allow students to create quality digital content. Opportunities for evangelism in the digital spaces is unlimited, and this is innovative ministry education for our contemporary culture. One of the instructors is a 2-time Emmy-winning former ESPN designer. Members of the Church of Christ could be eligible for the full tuition Jack Zorn Scholarship in order to pursue this special area of study. For more information, contact admissions at faulkner.edu. That is admissions at faulkner.edu. Faulkner University is a digital partner with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. Her name is Brantley. Her mother affectionately calls her Birdie, and I have no idea where that nickname comes from. Brantley used to call one of her grandmothers Visa, so I guess there's this nickname thing going on in the Brightwell house. I've watched this young lady grow up, and I've seen the transformation from a sparkly little tiny baton twirler to a decorated champion twirler, and she will enter her senior year as the captain of the majorettes for the Priceville High School marching band. I don't know what she plans to do with her baton talents, and you may even be surprised I even know anything about baton twirling. Well, I actually have a favorite baton twirler. Her name is Michelle C. Smith. She went from being a world champion baton twirler to using those talents combined with a martial arts background to work in Hollywood, and she choreographs fights. She works as a stunt double. She has a tutorial on the internet about teaching you how to stick fight, and she even has done some lightsaber tutorials. Now, I don't know that Brantley's going to do that with her baton talents once she graduates, but her options are not limited because she is as smart as she is pretty. She is as smart as she is talented. As far as I know, now, I don't live there full time and I don't have a super lot of interaction with her, but just from talking to her parents, she's really only had 2 really good lapses in judgment. One of those got her in trouble with her friend, her brother Grayson. You see, she and her friends were going to leave school, drive to Dairy Queen, and then go to majorette practice. And Grayson had decided he was going to ride with them. Good call, Grayson. But she promptly informed him that he was not going to ride and he should get away from her car. They found Grayson at home fuming with the indignity of having had to ride the bus. Now, she wasn't in trouble with her parents, but she was in the doghouse with Grayson. The other lapse in what has been an otherwise level head was she brought her boyfriend to a SWAT team Christmas lunch. Yeah, you heard me. I walked into a room full of operators, their wives, their significant others, and their children to see that at the Brightwell table there was a +1. Now, of course, no one was teasing Jason about it. And if you believe that, you also believe I can dunk a basketball. But here she was surrounded by her dad's very dangerous friends, and she was in the company of what was probably a pretty nice young man. When they asked me to lead the blessing for the food, I had to include, and dear Lord, please bless this young man who is with Brightwell's daughter and keep him safe today. This level headed young lady encountered a problem. 4 days before the first day of spring, it snowed in Alabama. Snow in Alabama is rare, and snow in March is really, really rare. But we had this weather phenomenon come up, and I have to tell you this: when I say the word phenomena, I hear in my head doobie doop phenomena, doobie doop, and sometimes it just slips out. Apparently, I have lyrical Tourette's. Uh, every time I say the word phenomena around Lisa Horse, she reminds me of the Muppet skit where they do phenomena, doobie doop, and now it lives rent free in my head. Anyway, we had this weather phenomenon. Did you sing it? Be honest. We had this weather system come through, and as it pushed through, it brought the snow with us. Brantley was talking to her dad, and she said, "It's coming a blizzard. Am I going to have to drive to school in the blizzard?" To which Jason calmly replied, "It's just snowing and the roads are fine." He's very matter of fact, very level headed, very pragmatic. So she drove to school. I've always been super impressed with Jason and Tiffany's parenting style. They are preparing their children for the path. They are not trying to prepare the path for their children, so she just drove herself to school. Now, after she got to school and after she got back, after she navigated the snowstorm, Jason asked Brantley, said, "Well, how was driving in the blizzard?" And she said, "Oh, it was fine. I just listened to Christmas music." And that struck me as precious, funny, and profound. She did something a lot of people do, and it was just simply change the context of what they were experiencing. The first time I ever took Jackie with me bow fishing, and that is the first and only time Jackie has ever gone bow fishing. And Jackie and bow fishing have several strikes against their relationships. We typically bow fish in the dark. Jackie doesn't do dark. I told her that probably floating in the river in the dark, we would see snakes, and Jackie doesn't do snakes. We would stay up all night. Jackie has an energy czar, and she turns into a pumpkin and loses her slippers usually around 9:30. And then the fish that we were going to shoot with the bow are usually slimy and stinky. And you guessed it, there is a low tolerance for slime and stink. But on this night, in addition to all the other Herculean trials that she's going to be faced, there was a mayfly hatch. Now, this is before the transformation of from school teacher to retired lady gardener, where she's walking out in the yard in her sun hat, and the bees, butterflies, moths, dragonflies, and hummingbirds swirl around her like a Disney princess. This was in the squeal, scream, dance around, "Jonesy, get it off me" days. And there were so many mayflies. And mayflies don't live very long. They're basically the couch potato version of dragonflies. They don't flit about. They hatch and they descend and they sit. And once one sits, every friend and every relative that it has or ever will have will come and sit with him or her. The boat was covered with mayflies. There were mayflies on the water. There were mayflies on the boat houses. There were mayflies in the air. There were mayflies on us. Daryl Pickle's back looked like he was wearing a mayfly ghillie suit. And I was quite frankly amazed at how well my little princess endured the whole thing. She was not screaming. She was not squealing inarticulate verbalizations, and she was not attempting to walk on the water and get back to the boat dock. The sky was so full of mayflies, it looked like a mayfly blizzard. And when asked how she confronted her blizzard, she said, "I was just calmly sitting there taking pictures, and I just knew I couldn't embarrass you." She said, "I didn't want to act like a girl in front of your friends. I was on the brink of my sanity, but I just went to this special place in my mind and pretended that they were fairies. And thinking them as fairies made me able to tolerate them." Now, thinking of them as fairies did not make them fairies. In fact, it did not change them, the mayflies, in any way. It only changed her attitude about the way she interpreted the mayflies. In the same way, I'm pretty sure Christmas music doesn't affect road conditions. I'm pretty sure Christmas music has zero effect on the weather. But in this instance, it had a profound effect on this young lady and her ability to drive through, quote unquote, the blizzard. You see, it changed her mindset. She used music connected to Christmas to create a different feeling or a different context for the snow. Now maybe thoughts of Christmas are accompanied with peace and comfort and family and joy and security and presence and safety. I really don't know what was going on in her mind. I really don't know what she felt. But what she did was she intentionally changed what she was thinking about and how she was thinking about it. And she began to think about Christmas rather than a blizzard. And even if using the term blizzard is a bit dramatic for what was actually happening, it allowed her to see it for what it wasn't. And whether she knew what she was doing or not, she reframed the snow from something that had been intimidating into something that, if it was not inviting, it was at least no longer scary or not as scary as it was. Her blizzard became a snow globe. And instead of driving through a blizzard, she was driving in a Christmas scene. We've said before in seminars that I do, and even on this podcast, that it's advantageous when you confront a problem to change the context. But oftentimes when we talk about change the context, you transition from focusing on the what it is to how we're going to manage it, how we approach it, and how we manage it is often more important than what the problem actually is. But just as important of how we deal with it may be how we see it, how we frame it, how we perceive it, or even the context that we give it. Difficulties, suffering, trial, tribulations, they're not pleasant. They are inconvenient, they're painful, they're intimidating, and they're frightening. One of the writers of the New Testament said, if you'll just simply view suffering as discipline, not from the standpoint that God is directly punishing us or makes us suffer in response to our behavior, but that when we suffer, whether as a result of our behavior and our choices or actions, or whether we suffer just simply because we live in a world corrupted by sin and controlled by physics, if we simply view that suffering as a process of discipline. See, when we encounter something difficult, instead of playing the blues, in our minds, we hear the theme from Rocky or the Eye of the Tiger. This thing that I'm going through, this thing that I'm experiencing, it can be viewed in a number of ways. You can see it as a tribulation or as training. You can see it as stress or a strength test. You can see it as difficulty or discipline. You can see it as a problem or proving ground. You can view it as a loss or a lesson. You can see it as an obstacle or an opportunity. If we change the music in our heads, the snow we see through our windshield takes on a different meaning. It doesn't change it. It doesn't make it not be snow. It just changes what we associate the snow with. Now, this is not self-delusion. It's not living in a state of denial, but it's taking an intentional look at our world and choosing to reframe it. I can look at it this way. I can choose to see only this. Or I can choose to see it in another way. Brantley's Christmas music did not warm the air. It did not change the temperature. It did not change the weather. It just simply gave her a different set of thoughts. It gave her something different to focus on. The music did not allay her fear, but the new focus changed her perspective. And if not directly giving her courage, she was nonetheless encouraged by listening to that music. She drove through what had previously been seen as a blizzard, and now it became a snow globe. I have been guilty of telling people, don't be afraid, when I should have told them, just act brave. Behave bravely, even though they are afraid. You see, afraid is a feeling, and brave is a choice. Brave is an action. Bravery is not being afraid. Bravery or courage, being courageous or smart in the fate of adversity is simply and intentionally changing not what we listen to externally, but how it plays in our heads. Not just the soundtrack, but the meanings we choose to give it. Changing the music we drive with gives us the ability to change that music and look at the situation and simply drive through. Using the tool of shortwave radio, World Christian Broadcasting literally covers the world every day with the gospel. They use 2 large curtain antennas. One is located in Anchor Point, Alaska, and the other in Madagascar. They send out messages that are recorded at their international home in Franklin, Tennessee. They make available 40 hours of broadcast every day. The broadcasts are made in English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, English for Africa, and Arabic. They would love for your group to visit them. You can bring your ladies group, your youth group, or your men's group. Just give them a call at 615-371-8707, 615-371-8707, or you can go to 3Ws and a dot, worldchristian.org, find the Donate Here button, and make a financial contribution to support this work that literally covers the world every day with the gospel. World Christian Broadcasting, in cooperation with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure.